Oh man, this is actually episode 47 and not 46. With myself and Lois Tenor, I'm Taylor Phillips, and today's my 39th birthday. But this is not about me. This is about Dan Snyder agreeing to sell the Washington Commanders for $6.05 billion to Josh Harris. There was another popular. There was a popular name before this, Magic Johnson, to
Yes.
buy the Commanders, but now it's Josh Harris. Can't be two. It can't be two names at the
No.
buying this. There can only be one, so it's got to be Josh Harris.
No, it's not been signed though. That's the thing.
Not officially, no, but
No.
they've agreed. They have agreed to it, so they just got to get the signing done, and then that'll be it.
Yes.
So Dan Snyder's gotten into a lot of legal trouble
Mm-hmm.
with the Washington then Redskins cheerleaders, for example.
Yes.
Yeah, and we've been aware of that for at least a couple of years now. That's been part of
To say the
Dan
least.
Snyder's Dan Snyder's history, part of his past. And that is true out there in
Yes.
the world of sports, true sports. So, your take on it?
It was long overdue anyway. I mean, he's been in so much trouble with the Redskins slash Commanders for so long now. It was bound to happen. He had to sell the team. I mean, the fans are fed up with his antics and whatnot. So it was time to make that move. I mean, the fans have been complaining for years. So it was about time. It should have been like maybe 5 years ago, or maybe even longer than that. So it's a good day for Commanders fans everywhere.
Yeah, especially for Commanders fans everywhere in Washington D.C.,
Yes,
our nation's capital.
and my co-host as well.
Yeah. So, um, Javier, yeah. Other than that, Javier Baez was pulled by Tigers manager AJ Hinch from the
Ooh.
game, not due to, and it's not due to injury. No way, Jose.
Oh.
Yeah, Javier Baez made such a lame base running gaff
Oops.
slash mistake. He thought there were two outs, but there was only one. Either that, he thought there were two outs, so he decided to just go, and he didn't even retreat back to. He didn't even bother retreating back to second base when he was easily doubled up by center
Oh
fielder
my.
Kevin Kiermaier. That's when AJ Hinch thought he was at the boiling point.
Yes.
The Tigers went on to win that game 3-1, and that was on my birthday today.
Yeah.
Two for the price of one, baby.
How about that?
Wow. Tigers are now 3-9 actually. I think three and
Uh,
nine. That
well,
record still stinks, but hey, they earned that victory.
yes. 3 and 9.
So yeah, yeah. Alex Lang pitched a 1-2-3 ninth inning
Good.
to earn a save. He's one of two in save opportunities. But for your end, man, what happened in that first inning?
Exactly. I mean, well, I was watching the Ranger game, so I was, contrary to that because it's the playoffs coming up with the playoffs, so you got a chance to get. But when I heard the results of like 9-0 just in the first inning, I mean, to get embarrassed like that on your own home turf, I mean that is humiliating. I mean,
At
I've seen
Yankee
games
Stadium,
at
the
Yankee
best
Stadium.
baseball team ever, historically.
Yes.
That is to me is a disgrace.
Not as bad as disgrace of what happened back in 2004 when they had a no hitter against them in their own ballpark. Ugh.
Against the Astros.
Yeah, but it was their own home ballpark. I'm like, what? This can't be happening. We got out. We got no hits in our own ballpark. Ugh. When I
This
went
was
home
the
that night,
first time, but it's not. But it wasn't the only time.
right.
It
Well, I
hasn't been
was
the only.
no, but in my lifetime, yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
So
sickened by it. I was sickened by it.
yeah.
Ugh.
But yeah. Yeah. But I think that 9-0, 9-0 first inning was worse. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. The Astros just had great pitching, but but giving up 9 runs in the first inning by Yankees pitchers at home to
yeah,
the Minnesota, even to the Minnesota Twins. Yeah, yeah, the Minnesota Twins. This is a team in the AL Comedy Central. Another team in the AL
exactly.
Comedy Central.
Right.
Yeah, we remember that nickname. That's been so that has been so trending over the last few years now,
Well, I remember when the Twins were actually
almost a
good.
decade. Yeah,
Yeah, long time ago, but
yeah. So yeah,
uh,
the Stanley Cup playoff bracket is all set.
thank goodness.
Yeah, at least for the Eastern Conference.
Right.
The Western Western Conference, I believe, still has yet to, you know,
Well, I think there's two more games
determine.
we play tomorrow, so that'll determine that.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's true.
Yeah.
So Thursday's got a full rack of games. Uh,
Yep.
the Red Wings got easily blanked by the Lightning 5-0.
I know. Ugh.
32 shots apiece.
Hmm,
But
interesting.
oh wow, Flyers Blackhawks tied at 4 in overtime at United Center in Chicago. Two very low ball teams.
The Battle of the
Uh,
Cellar Dwellers.
yep. Yeah, I'm just finding it out, but yeah, I'll leave that to you on your True Sports Report right about now. Lewis, go ahead.
Okay. All right. And well, we'll do the scores first, then we'll get to the news. And it goes like this. So, only one game left in the Major League Baseball right now. It's the Brewers leading the Padres now 3-1. No one on and no one out. Rhea is pitching and Nola is at bat. All the rest are final as the Orioles beat the A's 8-7. Bautista got the win and May got the loss. The Rays over the Dead Sox 9-3. Red Sox. Kelly got the win. Kluber got the loss, and Bristow got the save. And yes, they've tied the now Major League record for the best start in Major League history of 13-0. Sick. Reds over the Phillies.
Sick is right in a good way for Tampa Bay.
Well, if you're a fan of them, yes. 6-2. Uh, Lodado got the win. Belter got the loss, and Diaz got the save. Twins embarrassed the Yankees on their own home field, 11-2. Ryan got the win. Rito got the loss. Yeech. Good thing it's early in the season, though. As we just mentioned, Tigers and Blue Jays 3-1. Trumbo got the win. Batista got the loss, and Lungo got the save. Moving along, the Pirates blanked the Cardinals 5-0. But Squalors got the win, and Montgomery got the loss. And it's a light schedule for baseball. But then again, it's a Thursday, and it usually is light. All right, so we'll check the schedule here tomorrow, and it's back to a full slate of games. It goes this way. Starting at 6:40, at the D-backs take on the Marlins. Also 6:40 are the Phillies taking on the Reds, and the Giants taking on your Tigers. Interesting start time. 7:05 games. The Guardians taking on the Nationals. The Twins taking on the Yankees. 7:07. The Rays against the Blue Jays. See if they'll keep up their winning streak. 7:10. The Angels take on the Red Sox. Also, the Orioles take on the White Sox. 8:10. Braves take on the Royals. The Rangers take on the Astros. 8:15. The Pirates take on the Cardinals. 9:40. The Mets take on the A's. The Brewers take on the Padres. And at 10:10, the Cubs take on the Dodgers. Oops, And one other game, the Rockies take on the Mariners at 10:10 as well. All right, so the standings go like this. In the American League East, yeah. The Rays are still unbeaten, 13-0. Ridiculous. Blue Jays, 8-5, 5 back. The Yankees are also 8-5 at 5 back. The Orioles and Red Sox are the Orioles are 7-6, 6 back, and the Red Sox are 8 back at 5-8. Oh boy, not so good in Beantown right now, folks. Okay, in the Central, the Twins are 9-4, have a 2-game lead over the Guardians at 7-6. At 5-8 are the White Sox 4 back. Royals are 5 back at 4-9, and the Tigers are 5.5 back at 3-9. But remember, folks, it's early. To the West, the Rangers and Angels are tied at 7-5. Astros are 6-7, a game and a half back. The Mariners are 2.5 back at 5-8, and the A's 3-10, 4.5 back. Move that team already, will you? Jeez. Okay, so in the National League, the Braves are 9-4. The Mets are 7-6, 2 back. The Marlins 6-7, 3 back, and the Phillies and Nationals are tied at 5 back at 4-9. The Central, the Brewers 8-4, have a half-game lead over the Pirates at 8-5. The Cubs 6-5, a game-and-a-half back, not bad. The Reds 5-7, 3 back, and the Cardinals are 5-8, 3.5 back. And finally in the West, the D-backs are 8-5, have a 1-game lead over the Padres and the Dodgers at 7-6. The Giants are 5-7, 2.5 back, and the Rockies 5-8, 3 back. Well, even though it's last, it's still respectable. All right, so why don't we wrap up with the NBA since their season is just. No, I take that back. There is a playing game tomorrow night, actually. So let's run down what happened over in the last playing games, and it runs this way. All right, so we'll go to Tuesday, and it ran like this. On Tuesday, the Hawks beat the Heat 116-105, and takes with the 7th versus 8th game, and the Lakers over the Wolves 108-102. You gotta give the Lakers credit for the season they've had. They started 2-10, and they have come back all the way to finish above 500, and now are in the playoffs. Congratulations. The Bulls beat the Raptors 109-105 last night, and the Thunder beat the Pelicans 123-118, which sets up for tomorrow when you have the Bulls taking on the Heat at 7 and the Thunder taking on the Wolves at 9:30, setting up for who gets the 8th seed in the East and the 8th seed in the West. And then the actual playoff games start on Saturday, and I just happen to have it right here. For starters, the Nets will take on the Sixers at 1 o'clock, or as I like to call it, the Turnpike War. At 3:30, the Hawks will take on the Celtics. At 6 o'clock, the Knicks will take on the Cavaliers. At 8:30, the Warriors will take on the Kings. I don't know how that happened. Okay, so let's run down the standings for the final of the year and heading this way. So it wraps up like this. The Bucks finish at 56-24. The Celtics are a game back at 57 and 58-24. Celtics 57-25. The Sixers 54-28, 4 back. The Cavaliers 51-31, 7 back. The Knicks a respectable 47-35, 11 back. I would have loved to see them get 50, but that was a little too much to ask for. The Nets, respectively, 45-37, 13 back. The Hawks 41-41, 17 back. The Heat finished at 44-38, 14 back. The Bulls 40-42, 18 back. And 17 back were the Raptors at 41-41. Eliminated completely were the Pistons and Wizards at 35-47, the Magic at 34-48, the Hornets 27-55, and the Pistons 17-14. 65, 41 back. And the Hornets were 31 back. Okay, to the West. The Nuggets, 53 and 29, finished 2 games ahead of the Grizzlies, 51 and 31. The Kings, the surprise team of the year, at 48 and 34, 5 back. The Suns, 8 back at 45 and 37. The Clippers and Warriors, 9 back at 44 and 38. The Lakers, 43 and 39, 10 back. The Wolves, 42 and 40, 11 back. The Thunder, 42 and 40, 40 and 42, 13 back. And the Pelicans, 42 and 40, 11 back. But that was for the play-in games. Eliminated completely were the Mavericks at 38 and 44, 15 back. The Jazz, 37 45, 16 back. The Blazers, 33 and 49, 20 back. And the Rockets and the Spurs, 22 and 60 each, and 31 back. Not cool if you ask me. Wow.
No.
That sells that. All right. So now we'll go to the ice. And it goes this way. It's a big night of hockey as it's the final days of the season, so everything's got to get in shape here. Okay, the Oilers lead the Sharks 4-2, 9:19 to go in the third. In the second period, the Kings and Ducks are tied at 1, 14:25 to go. The Canucks lead the Coyotes 4-2, 12:39 to go in the second period. And the Knights lead the Kraken 3:50 to go in the first period, 1-0. Everything else is a final. As yep, the Bruins did it again, 5-4. Oh boy. Devils beat the Capitals 5-4 in overtime after trailing by 3 goals twice, 3-0 and 4-1. The Blue Jackets over the Pens 3-2 in overtime. The Leafs, yeah, they got by the Rangers 3-2, but 2 goals were called back, including a game tying goal with 1.8 seconds to go, and it was called no good. Dirty, no good dog. Sabres over the Senators 4-3 in overtime. The Hurricanes over the Panthers 6-4. Lightning beat up the Red Wings 5-0. Avalanche beat the Jets 4-2. The Stars got by the Blues 1-0. The Predators over the Wild 4-3. And the Flyers over the Blackhawks 5-4 in overtime, ending this miserable season. So, like I said, there's 2 games on the schedule tomorrow night as it officially wraps up the regular season. And it goes like this. The Sabres take on the Blue Jackets at 7:30, and the Avalanche take on the Predators at 8 o'clock. Postseason begins Monday. All right, so here we go. So, as for the news items, what a surprise turnaround in the NBA it has been for the Sacramento Kings this year. And Coach Mike Brown has been voted by the National Basketball Coach of the Year. The organization made the announcement just today. The award is named after the late executive director Michael H. Goldberg, and it is based on a vote by the league's 30 head coaches. Brown's victory ends a 2-year run of Monty Williams of the Suns, and the NBA will announce their Coach of the Year as the playoffs roll around, probably the second round. Okay, here's an interesting story for you NASCAR fans. NASCAR's most popular driver, Chase Elliott, says he won't give up snowboarding or any other winter sports activities despite his accident that ended up with a broken leg last month. Elliott will return to racing this week at Martinsville after missing the last 6 Cup races after suffering a broken tibia last month. Oy. Elliott underwent surgery the night of the accident, and it was revealed today that he has some remaining screws in his leg below the left knee. And if you're thinking of getting snowboarding again, you got some screw loose up there too. His crash raised concerns about the team's owner, Rick Hendrick's willingness to allow his drivers to participate in other sporting events in the off-season, something that Hendricks had prohibited in the past, though his rules mostly were related to racing outside of NASCAR. NASCAR gave the 2020 champion a waiver to qualify for the playoffs, but will probably need at least one more race to overcome his deficit due to the injury. If you were smart, you would never snowboard again. Raptors guard Fred VanVleet says he's not rushing on a decision on his contract option. A day after the Raptors were eliminated from the play-in tournament after a loss to the Bulls, VanVleet said he would not rush the call on either staying with the Raptors or bolting for free agency. He said, I know we're very dramatic around here. It's a tough way to go out. Not much to jump into a decision to opt out, or it'll take time to decide. The Raptors threw away a 19-point lead and missed 18 of 36 shots from the foul line. That hasn't happened since 1969 in a playoff game. Raptors should have won the game, and it's going to bring major changes to the roster. VanVleet has 1 year left in his 4-year, $85 million deal he signed with the Raptors in 2020. Declining the option year will put VanVleet into the free agency market in July. He indicated that he was open to staying with the Raptors on an existing contract or a new deal. VanVleet says his career is with the Raptors. His current deal calls for $22 million next season. Well, we got some sad news in the hockey world as former Dallas Stars forward Raymond Soda passed away after suffering a fatal heart attack, on Monday while playing hockey. He was only 38 years old. Swanda only played 11 games in 3 years between 2008 and 2011, only scored 1 goal after being drafted in the second round in the 2004 draft. He played 287 games, though, in the AHL. Swanda retired from hockey in 2016 after playing in Asia and returned home to British Columbia, where he became a firefighter. Wow, tough break. We were mentioning the Blackhawks just a while ago, and it's the end of an era, as the Blackhawks said they will not re-sign Jonathan Toews' contract and will use tonight's game as a fond farewell for the captain. Toews rejoined the Blackhawks earlier this month due to the effects of CRIS and long COVID. Before his return, Toews hinted his career will be winding down, but stopped short of saying the word retirement. Tonight, the Blackhawks will face the Flyers, a team they had defeated to win the 2010 Stanley Cup, which was their first since 1961. With Toews named the Conn Smythe Trophy winner and as playoff MVP in the Phantom Goal. His 8-year, $84 million deal is expiring at the end of the season, which is tonight. Has played 6 games since rejoining the Blackhawks on April 1st with a pair of assists. He had 30 points in 52 games this season. The general manager informed the decision with the Blackhawks were in Seattle as they faced the Kraken last week. Kyle Davidson talked to the Blackhawks CEO Danny Wirtz, the son of Blackhawks chairman Rocky, about the move. Toews was selected in the 3rd round in the 2006 draft and joined the team a year later and won 3 cups in 2010, 2013, and 2015, 2010 being the most memorable. In 1,066 regular season games, he had 371 goals and 511 assists. In the playoffs, which were 139 games, he had 45 goals and 74 assists. Not bad. Yep, well, it's going to be pretty crowded in the New York area for the next couple of weeks as all 5 of our teams made the postseason, and the Islanders clinched the 8th spot Tuesday, after beating Montreal. It also marked the end of an era as the Pens' 16-season playoff appearances has come to an end. Brock Nelson scored twice, and goaltender Ilya Sorokin made 17 saves. This will be the first time since 2006 that the Penguins did not make the postseason, and it was Sidney Crosby's first year. The 16-year streak is the longest active in the 4 major sports, including a 2020 bubble season as the playoff expanded to 24 teams as a result of the pandemic. The victory ended a wild 40-hour ride for the Islanders. On Monday, they lost to a shorthanded Capitals team that gave Pittsburgh control of their own playoff fate. But then the Pens squandered their chances and lost to the Blackhawks on Tuesday. That's right, they lost to the Blackhawks. The Islanders only needed 1 point to clinch a playoff spot. With that win, the Islanders had 93 points One point I had the Panthers, who had one more game tonight against the Hurricanes. With the Islanders and Panthers at 93 points, the Islanders have the second tiebreaker, which is combined by overtime and shootout losses. The Islanders had 41 wins and the Panthers had 40. As the Chicago Bulls were trailing by as much as 19 points to the Raptors, Zach LaVine and the rest of the Bulls did not panic. And why should you? He put his head down and drove to the basket on the next possession, drawing a foul that led to a three-point play that began to chip away that deficit. LaVine scored 39 points, including 30 in the second half, to pull up a comeback victory. But wait, folks, there's more. The Bulls now head to Miami to take on the Heat in a winner-take-all, and will face the Bucks in the first round and likely become the loser. LaVine's 39 points are tied for second in a playing game, trailing Jason Tatum, who had 50 against the Wizards in 2021. What he did in the third and leading into the fourth, it would have been difficult for us to do without the efforts of Zach, said Bulls coach Billy Donovan. His performance was, well, extraordinary, or extraordinary. It gave us life, and it gave us hope. The Bulls become the first 10 seed to win a playoff game. DeMar DeRozan scored 23 points against his former Raptors team. Both LaVine and DeRozan scored a combined 20 points in the fourth quarter. The Raptors only scored 24 points in the fourth. The Bulls hit four of their 7 3-point shots in the fourth, including shots by Alex Caruso and Patrick Beverley. The Raptors missed half of their free throws by going 18 for 36, the most in a winner-take-all game since 1969, which allowed the Bulls to come back and win the game. Strange, but true. Thunder guard Shai Alexander has been in big situations before, including the playoffs, and had a poise about him when his team faced the Pelicans last night. After having a horrible first half, he came on fire in the second by scoring 25 points, leading the Thunder to victory over the Pelicans. And now will play for the 8th seed tomorrow. The Pelicans will now head to Minnesota to battle the Timberwolves. The winner of that will take on the Denver Nuggets, the number 1 seed in the West. Good luck. Thunder guard Josh Giddey was just short of a triple-double, 31 points, 10 rebounds, and 9 assists. Alexander, not too shabby either, 32 points. The Pelicans did their best to deny Alexander the ball in the first half and sent double teams his way, consistently limiting him to only 7 points in the first half. This was just his 5th game of the season where he did not score double digits in the first half. It would have been easy for him to come out of that pressing, trying to get his game going. Instead, he let it come naturally, said Giddey. He finished with 32 points despite a rough first half. That just shows how good of a player he is. Alexander said he knew how the Pelicans were going to defend him and that the team worked it coming into the game. He has played in 13 playoff games, including the bubble season of 2020. After that season came a rebuild that sent Chris Paul to the Suns. The Thunder finished 22 and 50 that season, following the bubble at 24 and 58. Last season, as many expected the Thunder to go to the bottom again this season. However, Alexander lifted his team to a 40 and 42 record and a 10th seed in the play-in tournament. Giddey said that his poise helped the Thunder in the second half after trailing badly in the first. In the fourth, the lead changed 6 times, but it was a driving layup by Alexander with 28.3 seconds left to, shall we say, steal the Thunder from the Thunder. Oh, I know that was bad. I know. Minnesota winger Ryan Hartman was suspended for 1 game for a hit interference infraction in last night's loss to the Jets. Hartman was disciplined by the league today after an open ice hit on Jets forward Nicola Ehlers midway through the third period. Hartman was penalized for interference and roughing on the play that sparked a brawl that saw Ehlers leaving the ice and holding the back of his head. Ugh, that's not good. Hartman had 37 points on the season, 22 assists and 15 goals, and racked up 90 penalty minutes in 59 games this season. The Wild have finished their regular season today against the Predators and are heading to the playoffs. Back at the head. Arkansas freshman Anthony Black, who was a projected top 10 pick, will enter the NBA draft. Being one and done was always my goal, but I did not expect it to happen this quick, said Black. Coming in, I was focused on winning games and getting better, knowing the rest of it would take care of itself. Mm-hmm. Black, the number 8 prospect in the draft projections, was named second team All SEC and to the All Freshman team after averaging 12.7 points, 5.1 rebounds, 3.1 assists, and 2.1 steals. Black helped the Razorbacks upset top seed Kansas to advance to the Sweet 16, where they lost to the champion UConn. Black averaged 20 points, 5 steals, and 4 rebounds in what would be his final game in an Arkansas uniform. All right. And the Sabres were eliminated from the NHL playoffs after getting beaten by the Devils 6-2 on Tuesday. With this loss, the Sabres now set a record by missing the postseason 12 years in a row. The last time we made the postseason was 2010-2011. To make matters worse, the Sabres now share a dubious record with the New York Jets for the longest postseason droughts among the 4 major pro sports leagues, excluding MLS and WNBA, of course. Honestly, it feels empty, said Sabres defenseman Rasmus Dillon. I did not know I was going to feel like this into the game. But that's the way the puck drops. The Devils jumped out to a 2-goal lead early with goals by Jesper Bonquist and Jonas Slinger. Jeff Skinner, one of the Sabres, was able to cut the lead in half until Devils winger Mike Wood rebuilt the 2-goal lead midway through in the second half after Skinner's goal. Matt Samuelson cut the lead again until a pair of empty net goals by Thomas Tatar and the Devils star player Jack Hughes sealed it for the Devils. And incidentally, Hughes' little brother was in the game as well. Hughes set a new record for franchise points by adding his 97th point of the season, surpassing Devils legend Patrick Elias in the 2001 season. That was the year they lost to the Blackhawks, to the Avalanche. Yuck. Terrible game. Goaltender Vitek Vanek made 35 saves in the win. The Devils played the Hurricanes tonight and came back in a dramatic victory. And now, clinched the division. All right. The Boston Bruins dominated the league continues as they are now the most successful team in regular season history, setting records in total wins now, which is now at 65, and now make it 135 points, thanks to the game tonight. Yuck. Breaking the record of the Montreal Canadiens back in the 76-77 season. The latest achievement comes 2 days after setting the record for wins by breaking a tie with the 95-96 Red Wings and the 2018-19 Tampa Bay Lightning. Brad Machard and Tyler Bertuzzi scored in the second period to give the Bruins a 2-0 lead, but the Capitals' Nick Jansen fired back to cut the lead in half. Thomas Nosek extended the Bruins' lead to 3-1, but then Capitals' bad boy Tom Wilson scored on the power play, cutting it to 3-2. But that came back to bite him, as one of the Capitals' former players, Garnett Hathaway, who the Bruins acquired in a trade at the trade deadline, sealed the victory with an empty net goal. As I said, now the Bruins are 65-12-1 as their schedule ended tonight. Goaltender Linus Ullmark, who left the game in the third period, was credited for his 40th win of the year.
Wow, 65 wins. Dang.
Yeah. Yep.
Brandon Herrera wanted to comment, could the Lions be the NFC North favorite right now? They'll have to go to through the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes.
The bar is set.
Yeah. The Bruins have dominated the ice all season from start to finish and won the President's Trophy to clinch home ice advantage throughout the playoffs. But remember, they made them not everybody who wins the President's Trophy goes on to win the Stanley Cup. Remember, the Lightning got ousted in the first round when they won the President's Trophy in the 2018-19 season. And the Red Wings lost to the Avalanche in the conference finals in 95. 96 rather. Yeesh. Even I was upset about that. All right, Mavericks GM Nico Harrison is optimistic that the Mavericks will resign Kyrie Irving next season. This comes after Irving's exit interview with the franchise. I think things he said along the way about how he feels, except that it allows him to be himself. Those are things that he said regularly. Harrison said on Tuesday, coming a day after the meeting with Irving, that gives optimism that Kyrie wants to be here. You sure about that? The Mavericks traded Irving in January with the understanding that Irving had no intention of discussing a contract extension, that he would be limited to 2 years. Irving is eligible to sign a $272 million deal over 5 years with the Mavericks, who control his bird rights as he enters free agency, or about $202 million over 4 years with another franchise. Not a bad deal. Irving informed the Mavericks days after joining them he would not answer questions regarding his free agency until the season was over to avoid distractions, and was not made available to the media after the Mavericks season ended on Sunday. The Mavericks remain confident that Irving and fellow guard Luka Doncic can form a core contender despite a losing season, which is their first in 5 years. Yeah, we'll have to see about that. Okay. Second here to see if we got anything else interesting here. All right. And the Anaheim Ducks center Ryan Stone was fined $5,000 for unsportsmanlike conduct at the end of Saturday's game against the Avalanche. Stone was punished for his actions during overtime in a loss to the Avalanche. The time coincides with the winning goal by Nate McKinnon, and the Ducks lost 11 straight at that point. Strom did not have an assist in the game and was only 2 for 6 on faceoffs. And for you Islanders fans, Islanders star Bo Hobart apologized on Tuesday for making a negative comment about his old team Vancouver, which was home for 9 seasons before coming to the Islanders. After the victory of the Flyers on Saturday, Hobart was asked about the Islanders' playoff push ranks for him when it came to the excitement in the arena and the buzz among his fans. Hobart said, "It's better than Vancouver. I will tell you that for free," said the crowd. He told the crowd, "Oh boy." In January, Hobart was traded to the Islanders from the Canucks, where he was team captain, and signed an 8-year deal. Hobart said he was not expecting backlash to receive from Vancouver fans on social media for his comments. However, he said he meant no disrespect to the fans of his former team, his teammates, or the city of Vancouver. It was not directed towards them. The fans are excited about a playoff push. It was one of those moments where I just let my emotions get the best of me, and you certainly did. I was just happy to be there. It might have come out the wrong way to a lot of people, so I wanted to apologize for that. Hobart has 8 assists and 7 goals in 20 games for the Islanders this season, after having 31 goals and 23 assists for the Canucks in 49 games. Now, you just got to be careful what you say, especially on your former fans. San Jose Sharks defenseman Erik Karlsson became the first defenseman to reach 100 points since Brian Leetch for the Rangers did in 1991-92. My Rangers, oh yeah. Karlsson entered the game Tuesday, lost to the Jets with 98 points in his first 79 games. Karlsson now has 25 goals and 75 assists on the season, both setting career highs for a player that was rumored to be sent elsewhere at the trade deadline before the Sharks decided to keep him. This was the 15th defenseman to reach 100 points in a season. Bobby Orr still holds the record with 139 points in the 1970-71 season. Despite the Sharks missing the playoffs, Karlsson is favored to win the Norris Trophy for the 3rd time. It goes to the league's top defenseman. Well, I'd say despite the results of the season, I think he might be in the running. I mean, he did have a good season, despite the fact that uh, the Sharks did not. All right. So we've touched on the Commanders' ownership, and that's a welcome sight. The Carolina Panthers and Houston Texans are widely projected to select quarterbacks for their upcoming draft later this month. The Cardinals have Kyler Murray as their star franchise quarterback, and therefore has been identified as a potential trade up for another quarterback or for other needy teams that are looking to move in the first round. The Cardinals have 8 selections in the draft, including the 34th overall selection and number 34 overall selections in round 3 at 66 and 96, along with 105, 160, 188, and 213. The Cardinals are listed of 30 of their players in the open market. The Cardinals brought back 9 of their own and added 11 new free agents. The draft runs from April 27th to April 29th, 2 weeks away. Coming up fast, folks. All right. Guardians starter Tristan McKenzie is set to resume a throwing program after making progress in recovery from a shoulder injury. The Guardians said on Monday that McKenzie, who missed the start of the season with a muscle strain, was checked by Dr. Jason Jenin on Monday. The right-hander was cleared to throw with a weighted ball. As long as there are no other issues, Mack can start to throw again in a few days. Once he gets evaluated again, the Guardians can make a better sense of when he will be able to throw again. He could miss up to the 2 months due to the injury. Mets ace Justin Verlander is out with the same injury. Last year, McKenzie was 11-11 with 296 ERA and 190 strikeouts. Ooh. Well, that was worth mentioning. All right. Pirates shortstop O'Neill Cruz is out with a fractured left ankle in a collision at home plate in Sunday's victory over the White Sox. Oof. Cruz was attempting to steal third on a chopper from Ken Brian Hayes when Cruz's leg bent awkwardly beneath him as he attempted a late slide. His leg appeared to collide with catcher Sebi Zalba to tag out Cruz. Oof. Cruz is in pain, and both benches and bullpens cleared after Pirates DH Carlos Santana appeared to take exception to Carlos Santana. Okay. To Zalba's behavior. There were no ejections as order was restored. The Pirates were off to a 6-3 start, but Cruz's absence is a major blow to a team that showed promise. And we'll just see how much promise they can get after that. It's a wait and see situation. Oh boy. Who should the Rockets' next coach be? Well, we'll find out later. I'll have that on my report. I'll have that on my show on Saturday night. And we'll also take your NBA predictions and NHL predictions as well, as the real playoffs start on Saturday.
The NBA playoffs, at least.
Yes, the NBA playoffs start on Saturday.
Yeah, the Stanley Cup playoffs start someday next week.
Monday.
Monday. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
As we said before, I'll put it this way: can anybody stop the Tampa Bay Rays? This unbelievable start to the season continues as the Rays have won 13 in a row to start the season. As a baseball fan, it's unbelievable. As a Yankee fan, though, it's making me sick.
Just in case you guys missed it out there.
It's out there. Yep, 13 in a row now. They have now tied the record with the 82 Braves and the 87 Cardinals. The only two teams to start the season 13-0 since 1900. The Rays didn't equal the win total tonight as they beat the Red Sox at home. The Red Sox have now lost 13 straight road games to the Rays. Wow. Tyler Bradley won his major league debut for the Rays.
Yeah, can they make it 14-0 to break that record? That's the question.
Oh, I hope not. The right-handed pitcher was
Why not, man? Do you hate the Rays or no?
Pretty much, yes.
Oh wow.
Hey, look, they're our rivals, man. They're my rivals.
The Yankees are rivals with the Rays too.
Yes, they are. They
Hmm.
are. It's turned into a rivalry.
Hmm.
The right-handed pitcher was recalled from AAA Durham, while Zach Eflin was on the injured list. Allowed 3 runs on struck out 8 batters over 5 innings. Randy Arozena made it 3-0 with a home run over Chris Sale on a 1-1 pitch in the first. So far, just 2 weeks of the season, the Rays lead the league with 30 home runs. The Rays joined the 2019 Mariners and the 2020 Cardinals to at least have had 30 home runs in their first 12 games of the season. And if that's not enough, the Rays have outscored their opponents. You ready for this, guys? 92-27.
Boom.
I I swear I did not make that up.
True.
How do you beat a team like that? Ugh. Yeah, I can see it now. 162-0. All right, maybe not.
Uh, I wouldn't go there. I'd see
Thank
it.
God.
I'd say at least 14-0.
Mm. All right. Well, Rangers shortstop Corey Seager will miss at least a month after being placed on the injured list with a left hamstring injury after getting hurt as he was running the bases. General Manager Chris Young said Seager had an MRI that showed a grade 2 strain. Seager was hit in Tuesday's game against the Royals and spent nearly a month on the injured list when he was with the Dodgers in 2019. The Rangers went into the last night's game with a record of 7-4. Seager says does not remember much of the 2019 injury and is not putting a timeline on his return. With Seager on the injured list, the Rangers called right fielder Ledoy Tavers from the list. Tavers, who was said to return from his rehab assignment this week, was placed on the injured list during the first 2 weeks of the season with a left oblique strain that he sustained during spring training. Tavers was back in the lineup, batting seventh for the Rangers. Josh Smith was the starting shortstop, batting second, which is the usual spot for Seager. Last season, Seager played in 151 games and hit 33 home runs. Don't expect that this year, buddy. Hmm. And interesting note here: Yankees dodged 2 injury bullets with Gilbert Torres and DJ LeMahieu. Thank goodness. The last thing the Yankees need is another injury-prone year. All right, well, another injury need to mention here. First, MLB umpire Larry Vanover spent overnight in an area hospital after being hit in the head with a relay throw yesterday as the Guardians faced the Yankees. Vanover was being evaluated for concussion and other injuries at the Cleveland Clinic. He was taken after a routine play that turned into something more than anything but routine. Vanover was working at second base and was knocked down on the infield grass by the throw from Guardians second baseman Andres Ramirez, who wheeled and fired toward the plate. He accidentally hit Vanover, positioned between second and the mound on his left side, second and on the mound on the left side of his head. MLB said Vanover was being checked for a head injury and any other medical issues. A timeline is yet to be determined. He was scheduled to work in Cincinnati today, but now have to pass concussion protocols before returning to the field. Plate umpire Chris uh, Cooney said that Vanover has a sizable knot on his head and will undergo a CT scan. Whew. No doubt about it. That's going to be scary.
Yeah, really dangerous.
Yeah. It was accidental, though, so at least it wasn't intentional. Thank goodness.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Okay, here's something interesting. A group in Salt Lake City, formed by former Utah Jazz owner Gail Miller, plans to pursue an MLB team in the coming years, touting the area's population growth and strong economy and baseball history as an expansion slot. The people involved in the project told ESPN. Big League Utah, as the group as it's known, will join Nashville Music City and the Portland Diamond Project in lobbying for becoming the next expansion team. Las Vegas is also considered a strong destination for a franchise as it emerges a possible candidate should the A's decide to leave Oakland. While MLB says not planning to expand until it figures out the futures of the A's and the Rays, both whom have considered moving amid struggles to secure new stadiums in the metro areas. Commissioner Rob Manfred said back in July he wants to see 32 teams in the majors. Yeah, we'll see. Tampa Bay Bucks linebacker Devin White has requested a trade, sources told ESPN. One source told ESPN that White was growing frustrated with the team and had enough. The sources did not specify the root cause of his frustration, but he said he is not happy with his current situation. Spoiled brat. Another source told ESPN that White's frustration stemmed from negotiations of a new contract. The Bucks do not want to trade him, said Adam Schefter of ESPN. White does want to be traded, and is coming up on a fifth-year option, which the team has already picked up. A new multi-year deal was the next step, and the expectation was that White would be a core member for years to come. Obviously, he doesn't feel that way now. New York Giants running back Saquon Barkley says he won't sign a franchise tag before the offseason program begins on Monday. That according to New York Newsday, a very well-respected publication. The Giants designated Barkley as their franchise player a month ago, but have continued contract negotiations for the former number 2 draft pick. Giants owner John Mara says he was hopeful that a long-term deal could have been reached and wants Barkley to remain with the Big Blue Wrecking Crew for the remainder of his career. But negotiations have remained at a standstill as of yesterday, and Barkley would not be eligible to be involved in the offseason program unless he's under contract. If the Giants do not sign Barkley by July 15th, Barkley would just make over $10 million under the franchise tag for the upcoming season. General Manager Joe Schoen said the Giants would prefer a long-term deal for Barkley, who reportedly turned down the Giants' last offer in November for about $2 million per year. What's wrong with you? Last season, he had 10 touchdowns for 32 rushes of 10 or more yards for 650 yards from scrimmage, and was second in the comeback player of the year, as told by the Associated Press. Mets fans, I got some good news for you, sort of. Mets closer Edwin Diaz has not ruled out a possible return before the season is over, as his serious knee injury during the last month's WBC tournament. Diaz spoke to the media for the first time since his patella tendon injury, as he celebrated a victory in the WBC. That his injury is progressing well, and his recovery is heading towards a more positive direction. Average recovery time is usually about 8 months, but Diaz has offered a more positive prognosis. I might be able to pitch this season in Diaz. As of now, the knee is doing better. The doctors are pleased, so we're in a good direction for that. Diaz said he does not want to get so far ahead of himself. There are several tests that are needed to be passed before being able to pitch again, including getting on the field, pitching, and throwing. While the injury sparked controversy over whether star players should risk injury by participating in the WBC, Diaz said he had no regrets for playing for Puerto Rico and said if he had the chance to do it again, he would. In the offseason, Diaz signed a 5-year, $102 million deal, the highest amount for a relief pitcher. All right. Very scary story here. Louisiana wide receiver Michael Jefferson, who was considered a mid-round draft pick, was injured in a multiple car crash on Sunday night in Mobile, Alabama, that left him with multiple injuries and required multiple surgeries, as told by his agent John Presley yesterday. According to the release from the Alabama law enforcement agency, Jefferson's car, a Chevy Impala, collided with a Dodge Charger that was also hit by a third vehicle. Oh boy. The crash that killed the driver of the Charger was a 55-year-old man who did not wear a seatbelt and was pronounced dead at the scene. Oh boy. The crash is under investigation by the Alabama State Patrol Division. Last season for the Raging Cajuns, Jefferson had 51 receptions for 810 yards. Throughout his career, he had 154 catches for 2,407 yards and 29 29 touchdowns. He played at Alabama State for 3 seasons before heading to Louisiana. There was no important difference in condition at the time of the crash. Very scary. Yeah. And YouTube has released its prices for the NFL Sunday ticket. Okay, guys, ready for this? YouTube subscribers, $349 per season, but before June 6th, it's $249. $389, but with Red Zone, $289 early. For non-YouTube subscribers, $499 per season, $349 early, $489 after June 6th, and $389 early with the Red Zone. Actually, I have Red Zone on my TV set. That's according to Bleacher Reports. And finally, the Brewers placed right-handed pitcher Brandon Woodruff on the 15-day injured list with right shoulder inflammation. Brewers manager Craig Counsell said prior to the win over the D-backs that Woodruff did not recover well enough from his previous start, as the Brewers wanted to give him more rest. Right-hander, remember guys, Jansen Junk, yes, that's his name, was called from AAA to take Woodruff's spot and made his debut in yesterday's game against the D-backs. Yeah. Let's just hope there wasn't a lot of junk that went with them. Oh, junk-faced Dre Jamison was going into the game 2-0 with a 2.16 ERA. All right, that's enough of me. I'll turn back up to you, Taylor.
All right, so that
Jansen Junk.
Yeah, that is
Love it.
that is another episode of True Sports, episode 47. We'll be back a week, like next weekend actually, like probably Sunday at 11 or so.
All right.
As of right now, for episode 48. Until then, for Lewis, I'm Taylor. Check out my other show, the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast, on YouTube at the Michigan Sports Truth Podcast. For Lewis, I'm Taylor. Ta-ta for now. Have a good weekend.
Good night, folks.